You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
We're back. This is Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Natural Green Lawn and Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Stone Valley Painting and Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. As an American Family Insurance agent, Kim believes that there's much more to insurance than just the policy. It's about providing you with dependable protection and services. Kim believes that trust and credibility can't be demanded. It can only be earned by what you say and what you do. Give her a call. Kim Bennett Agency at 651-482-1598. It's time now for a message from the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. This MHA Minute is brought to you by Start to Finish Maintenance Contractors. Start to Finish provides 24-hour service for all of your home and business maintenance needs. Call Start to Finish at 952-259-1219 for your home, for your business, for your peace of mind.
If you're renting out a property for the first time, there's a lot you need to know so that you can do it successfully and, frankly, keep yourself out of trouble. Luckily, there's a statewide resource with all the tools you need to run your new business successfully. In fact, the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association regularly holds a seminar called Accidental Landlord, specifically designed for people who are renting out a property for the first time. They also have residential leases, security deposit agreements, a lead disclosure, and lots of other forms. They even have brochures on the principles of successful property management and the eviction process that you can download for free. So if you want to know more about the Accidental Landlord Seminar or other classes about owning, managing, or maintaining anything from a single unit to a growing apartment portfolio, visit the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association's website, mmha.com. That's two M's, mmha.com.
So, Gene, we're going down a list of things not to do if you're a board of directors with a large construction project.
Yes.
Number one, don't ignore your members.
Oh, yes.
Don't send out a statement demanding $10,000 per, and then ignore their questions, ignore their concerns.
Yeah.
And
that's not even a good idea, even on the small things.
Oh, my gosh.
You know?
Yes, that's right. Like I said, if you're thinking about banning dogs, you better find out how your neighbors feel about that.
You know, I don't like it when I hear the board, they'll say things like, well, I don't want to take the time to have anything sent out by mail. They don't read it anyway. They just throw it away.
I don't want to spend the money on the postage.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what someone else chooses to do.
Yeah.
It is just a good practice. I mean, that's what we should have in all levels of government.
Yes, that's right. Transparency.
So
what else did they do that they should not have done?
Well, here's something, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. It said, instead of soliciting competitive bids now and selecting a general contractor to oversee the project, the board elected instead to act as their own general contractor because they said, we're going to hire and supervise all of these various subcontractors because we know them, because of pricing.
Did they think they would save money that way?
I think so.
Yeah.
Making matters worse, though, instead of using competitive bids, they made an assumption. And you know what happens when you assume.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do.
They assumed that they would were getting the best, most competitive pricing because the board dealt exclusively with companies known to them as individual board members. So in other words, it's not we're going to get 3 bids. One board member said, oh, we need some roofing done. And someone says, I got a guy. And someone else says, oh, we need some painting done.
Yeah.
And someone else says, I've got a guy. And I think what they want to be here is they want to be the Godfather. They want to be the one.
Do they have a Godfather complex? I got a guy. Somebody owes me a favor. Okay, here's what's wrong with this. You said it right at the top of the story. A person who acts as their own attorney has a fool for a client, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, a person who acts as their own general contractor has a fool for a client in a project of this scope. This is $1 million project. purportedly or seemingly involving lots of different issues.
Yeah.
It's not just about replacing roofs. It's not just about replacing siding. It sounded like there were many code violations and many construction issues. So I assume they thought they would save money if they acted as their own general contractor. But man, oh man, that they're taking on a tough job. Then they didn't do a bidding process. Gene, how many times has a board told you, what? That's going to cost $200? I'd like you to go out and get 5 bids for that, please.
Oh.
That's one extreme.
Yeah.
Where we can't spend our day getting 5 bids for something costing $200.
You need a dozen bids. You need and then after all that's in, it goes one more month. Well, here's another guy.
Give
call
him. I found this guy on the bulletin board at the grocery store. Get his bid.
Yeah.
This is a $1 million project, and they didn't get competitive bids. That's crazy. To me, that board just risked and exposed themselves to lawsuits.
In a major way.
Yeah. I hope they have directors and officers insurance coverage.
They did, but they felt that when they were getting bids that they could get a better quote by doing it themselves. But yes, but this whole idea of I know an individual.
You know what?
I've got a guy. It really is true, and I know I'm maybe beating a dead horse here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are not in all cases. There's some great, fabulous people that work on boards. I would
say for the most part. For the most part, there are.
But you get a type of individual who sometimes doesn't have a job that carries with it a lot of authority, a lot of respect.
I know where you're going.
You know,
with this.
And they don't have a lot of power to determine things, and so you get people that are on the board, and now all of a sudden they like that. They like the idea, and when I say I've got a guy, they like that brief moment when they say, "Hey, I've got a project for you," and have someone.
They enjoy that
adulation.
That notoriety, or that, like you said, that power, that influence. They feel like they have an influence. Now, are you saying that you should never hire a contractor that you know?
No, not at all. I mean, you go ahead and have you should go ahead and have competitive. Go with competitive pricing.
That's right.
I'm not even saying that the board necessarily has to go with the lowest bid.
That's right. You're not advocating that.
Yeah,
we don't advocate that.
I remember one association a number of years ago, we got 3 painting bids. And there was one bid that came in the middle that was actually, we're talking about a $31,000 paint job.
Okay, yeah.
And was probably $3,500 to $4,500 above the lowest bid.
Okay.
And so we're talking a little bit better than a 10% increase.
Okay.
The difference, though, was you take a look, everybody had bid the specifications the same way, but that guy in the middle included a warranty that was over double what the other 2 did.
Ah, okay.
And instead of just power washing, he power washed and then insisted to hand scrape and sand before putting on the primer. I got to tell you that little bit of extra, even though that's what wasn't asked for. Sure. I said that makes that's huge, and the board said, yeah, that makes sense, and so that made sense. And so when you get bids, you don't necessarily have to go with the lowest. You want to make sure that you're getting good value. That's the most important thing.
Getting good work and good value. In fact, it's a little bit dangerous to automatically go. Well, it's a lot dangerous to automatically go with the lowest bidder, because you don't know who these folks are necessarily. You don't know if they're capable of doing the work even.
Yeah.
Part of the bidding process is getting references. So if you have good references for that higher priced contractor, it may also be worth paying the additional cost. If you can see their work and see the quality of their work. So all of those things. But you got to go through the bidding process.
Yeah.
There's no skirting that.
Don't you think that a lot of people are just too quick in wanting to get things done.
Sometimes,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's
That's
a
part
rush
of the-
it's rush to get it done.
That also figures into the poor communication, I think. No, we're not going to tell people we don't want to open up that can of worms. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to deal with their arguments. Just do it.
Yeah.
There's an efficiency factor or supposed efficiency factor in that, too.
Yeah. So here we have an association that began out in a great way.
Yep.
And then they went to some of the professionals, got advice that was good, but didn't take it. And then continued to insist that they knew what was happening. And
Or
then
that only they had to know.
and they
Nobody
only
else,
had to
this
know,
is
and it
a
wasn't
need
important.
to know basis. You don't need to know what's going on.
Oh, boy. If you're on a board, you got to remember, bottom line, you have a fiduciary responsibility to the other owners to make sure that you're being transparent and that you're being accountable for all of your actions. Well, that's all the time we've got for today's show. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. Remember, get out and vote next Tuesday, folks. We'll see you here next Saturday on Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
I have been chosen. Farewell, my friend. I go on to a better place.